MediaWatch means James Creedon here in the studio. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Mark.
Good to see you. Let's start with the big talks. The talks themselves that are big news. That's Iran and the rest of the world in Geneva.
That's right. So a quick look at what the Iranian press is saying. Luckily, Le Monde did a little press review because my Farsi is a bit rusty, Mark. So we have a Mardum Salari, which is a reformist newspaper, and they are saying basically their front page is expressing what most of Iran is thinking. The people are expecting concrete results from the Geneva negotiations. So the front pages are all expressing that optimism amongst the Iranian people that things will actually come to some sort of a conclusion, a positive conclusion. The next paper down in this Le Monde blog is Savai Ekta Saad, which is a business daily, and they have Mohammed Javad Zarif on the front page. That is the foreign minister. Now, he spoke about hoping to shorten the duration of these talks, which is obviously a very optimistic move. By that, they mean, the Iranian delegation means that they're very optimistic that things will come to a conclusion fast. And so that on that optimistic note, that newspaper leads and talking about hoping that the talks will end quickly, and indeed a lifting of the international sanctions will come out of that.
One wonders why they're being so optimistic openly like this when, of course, we're getting more measured tones coming from the Western powers, the world powers, I suppose, the P5+1.
That's right, and indeed some of those more measured sentiments coming through in this foreign policy article, zero-sum enrichment. Hawks in Israel and Washington have been quick to describe Hassan Rouhani, that is the Iranian Prime Minister, as a wolf in sheep's clothing. They point out they're warning that the Iranian regime may agree to cosmetic changes to its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. So that's sort of much more measured point of view coming out in foreign policy there. Quick look at the Israeli media. Half measures with Iran will mean more isolation for Israel. So this is a note of caution in Haaretz expressed by Emily Landau, and what she is saying is if there's some sort of a compromise deal between the 5+1 and Iran, that could leave Israel quite isolated if Israel maintains its hardline position expressed in this headline here, and this is a quote by Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel has learned never to rule out preemptive strikes. In other words, it's sort of a veiled threat to Iran that they could go in there and strike preemptively. So that's basically a quick whip across what some of the media are saying. Just a quick little side note here, this making waves in the Iranian, in the Israeli media. It came out in the Times of Israel. Bibi caught in Iranian erotica mishap. Now apparently his Twitter account started to follow this Persian Twitter account, Persian Hot Book. That's an erotic account, Mark. It had 13 followers, and then when Benjamin Netanyahu's account started following it, it shot up to 234 followers. I think it was either somebody who hacked his account or an awful mistake by whoever is managing it at the Likud party.
It's rather funny, isn't it?
It is pretty funny.
Okay, let's move on to, probably it's a good point to move on actually, to an online debate here in France over whether or not to smack children when you discipline them. A father in the city of Limoges, down in central France, fined for smacking his son.
That's right. Now, what happened was, I think there was a separation between the father and the mother. The son was no longer speaking to the father, and the father disciplined him with a smack on the behind. This ended up in the courts, and the mother was the representative on front of the courts. In any case, a €500 fine, Mark, plus legal expenses of €150 awarded to the mother. So clearly this was a domestic situation that ended up in the courts. How is the French media responding? It's interesting because a lot of papers have been polling the public on this one. And is it normal, asks Le Parisien, that a father should be fined for a smack? No, says a whopping 92% of the public. No, it says Le Figaro's readers as well, 91 points. So that's essentially the same.
That's interesting that Le Figaro says that.
That's right.
A very sort of right-leaning, very...
That's right. They're saying no, and absolutely no to smacking. Now, let's have a look at these pictures, because this the French lunchtime news, Mark, went into overdrive on this, and they were comparing this to other European countries. Now, there are 17 EU countries that have banned smacking in the home, including Sweden, Germany, Spain, Poland. Not, though, France, the UK, Belgium, and several others. And in France, you can see there from those polls that there seems to be a lot of opposition to the notion that you can't smack your child, discipline your child, should the question... I suppose, you see, it depends on
Were you smacked as a kid, James? Were you smacked as a kid, James?
I was smacked as a kid, and
I wasn't smacked as a kid. And
Right.
I've got 4 children myself.
Right.
I've never smacked them.
Right.
Some people might say I should have, but
Right.
I'm only joking, kids. But no, I never smacked them, so I don't see the need for it. But
Well, it's interesting to look at it from a legal perspective in France, because they did try to legislate for this in 2010, and then it was thrown out of the parliament before it ever was debated. And what the French lawyers are saying is, look, there's a penal code provision here already, basically saying that if excessive corporal punishment can be punished by the law, so there's no need to legislate for specific smacking of children.
keep
etc.
your hands to yourself. That's the
right.
message. James, thank
No
you very
need.
much indeed. Good to see you. James Creedon with MediaWatch.
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
James Creedon, as ever, illuminating with MediaWatch. Good to see you. Stay with us. We're taking a very short break. After that, back with another world news update, plus our eye on Africa. You're watching live from Paris. Stay with us.